What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Happy New Year, happy 2022. I hope you guys are having the best year so far. We're only 10 days into it and it's been phenomenal for me. I hope it has been equally as phenomenal for each one of you. And for anyone that is new here, bear with me for just a second. I just need to express my gratitude to everyone that's been here for a while, and of course, any new viewers. I'm about to get into the airline transition, but first, like I said, I want to express my gratitude for anyone that's been around for a while. Thank you guys so much for everything that you've done for me. I want to make sure I start this year off right by saying that. And starting social media 6-7 years ago, I never thought I was going to start YouTube. You know, I started on Instagram posting every single day for the first 2.5 years. And it was a lot of work, and a lot of people think, oh, you just take a picture and post it, but making sure you have a piece of content for 2.5 years straight, it really is a lot. And for YouTube, it's a lot of work. For any small creator like me out there, you know that filming and brainstorming and editing and uploading, it's a lot of work as well. And on YouTube, you really don't make much money unless you're, you know, a bigger YouTuber that gets tons of views, or, you know, you might get the occasional brand deal. But to have a tangible award, and reap the reward and the benefits of all the work that you've put in, I really couldn't even fathom this day happening, and the fact that it did last month of us passing 100,000 subscribers is mind-boggling. I can't thank you guys enough. This has been amazing. It's been a wild ride. We've had some ups and downs, and I'm here to really help each and every one of you as much as possible, whether that's provide entertainment, provide value, provide guidance. We're going really hard this year in aviation, so I hope you guys are along for the ride and you're ready for it. And anyone that smashed the thumbs up button on videos or commented, and of course everyone that subscribed, thank you guys so much, because without each and every single one of you, this right here would not be possible. And yeah, I just can't thank you guys enough. I will cherish this award for a very long time, and I'll hold on to this forever. So thank you guys so much. On to the gold one. 1 million subs, we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully you guys stick around long enough for that. But thank you guys so much. For everyone that's new here, welcome. My name is Garrett. I'm currently an airline pilot, intend to be an airline pilot for a long time. I've been flying for the regionals for the last 5 years on the Embraer 145. And I'm officially typed on this beautiful bird right here, the 737 NG. This thing is gorgeous, and I just got done with OE, operating experience, which I'll get into momentarily. But I'm based up in New York, and these last couple weeks have been some of the best weeks of my life flying this. Yeah, so let's get right into it. What it's been like transitioning from a regional to a major airline. It's been phenomenal. The transition's been great. Everyone has been amazing, helping out. It's been a lot of fun. So day one, we go to Dallas for 3 weeks of in-dock training. You learn the ins and outs of the company, policies, procedures, how the company operates. You meet a lot of great people. You do a lot of really good, important training. You learn about evacuations. You do door training. You life raft training, just everything you can think of, you knock out in those 3 weeks. That doesn't include aircraft specific training. And then after in-dock training, I went home for 2 weeks and did 2 weeks of self-taught systems training, meaning we had about 26, give or take 4 or 5 hours, 26 hours of at-home system training. So you actually teach all the systems to yourself, and it's a lot. It really is. It's overwhelming at first because there's so much, and it's kind of a complex aircraft. At least I thought it was very complex when I first got started. Coming from a pretty simplistic aircraft, being the Embraer 145, there's a whole lot more switches and a lot more manual stuff, not nearly as much automated stuff on the 737 as there was on the Embraer 145. For instance, the icing system, we have to manually turn on the icing system in this. On the 145, it would automatically come on. Something that is automated that I wasn't used to, auto throttles. Those are the coolest things ever. On the 145, we didn't have auto throttles. So there's some differences in that sense, but it's been a phenomenal aircraft to learn on. And like I said, it was overwhelming during those 2 weeks at first, because it is 26 hours. You think, oh, 26 hours, that's just over a day. But if you're breaking that down into a couple hours a day, and then you're also pausing each slide, taking notes and reviewing, it's a lot of training throughout those days. And it was great though. You feel very well prepared going into ground-based trainer, and it was great. So day one, after those 2 weeks are done and you learn all the systems, you get all your computer-based training done, you go into a ground trainer for about the next 2 weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks, and it's these beautiful ground-based trainers. So it's not a full motion simulator, but you get in and it's got, a throttle quadrant, a lot of the switches, the overhead panel. It's got these awesome screens. So it's just like you're kind of in the flight deck. You get to physically touch things. So as you know, if you follow my Instagram, I put up stories of like what it was like in my hotel room, learning these flows. You have a paper tiger, AKA a poster of the flight deck, learning, okay, this is what it's in when I first come into the aircraft. This is my before start flow, or this is how I power the aircraft. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to battery first, and so on and so forth. And flows are basically a way to program your brain, almost like muscle memory of, you have a trigger and then you have a flow. Maybe before you push back, your before start flow, when the flight deck door gets closed, then you go into your flow and then you verify it with a checklist. So you have a do and verify system. So you learn all your flows and then you put them to work in the ground-based trainer. You get used to call outs. So, you have call outs for different phases of flights, and that's where you work with your partner and you guys really work well together and start to learn how these procedures apply to day-to-day operations. I was lucky enough to have a captain. He was formerly a first officer on the 737 and he was transitioning to captain. So we had some time on this experience. I could pick his brain with a lot of things. He was a lot of help. So going from that, some people do have new hire on new hire, first officer on first officer, which is what I had when I was on the 145. There's pros and cons in that, but I got through it just perfectly fine with the captain. He was great. He was a great mentor. And we went through ground-based training for about 2 weeks, and then we head over to the simulator. So on the last day of ground-based training, you do a systems test and kind of like a procedures evaluation. So you do a flight from point A to point B. Maybe it's from Houston to Dallas, a short flight, and they just see you pushing back off the gate in your day-to-day procedures without actually flying, because there's no yoke. You put it on autopilot right away and you just get used to setting up approaches, getting familiar with the box, the CDU, FMS, wherever you're from, whatever you call it. And then once you pass that, your procedures evaluation, it's kind of like a gateway. It's not really a pass fail thing, but you kind of do have to pass it to get to the next part, which is simulator training, which is the full motion sim. It can be overwhelming at first because not only are you in a new position going from a captain to a first officer, like I was doing from the regional now to the major, which I'll talk about in a different video, but it is kind of overwhelming at first. Like, there's new operations, you're flying out of bigger airports you're not familiar with, because for me at a regional, I was maybe going from Charlotte to Florence, South Carolina, a small airport. Now I'm going from Dallas to Denver, 2 big airports, and now I have high altitude operations. I have terrain I've never even seen go this high before. So there's a lot of new things to implement when flying longer haul. So that was a lot of fun, getting to see, bigger airports. And so we go through sim training, and before we get to that next gateway, the next checkpoint, which is maneuver validations, we start working on stuff like V1 cuts, which for anyone that isn't in aviation, V1 cuts is a go, no-go speed. Once you reach V1 and beyond, whatever that problem is, you are now taking that aircraft into the air because it is safer to take it up in the air and assess the situation and go from there. And once you do that, then you get to maneuver validation, which is V1 cuts, maybe a hydraulic A failure, maybe asymmetric flaps or slats where one retracted and the other didn't. So just different situations that could potentially happen in the aircraft and that we're well trained on and good to go. So once we pass some maneuver validation, then it is on to loft, line oriented flight training. We have a couple days of this. Once again, point A to point B, but you're actually flying because you're in a full motion sim, just like the aircraft. Maybe we flew, I don't recall where the lofts were from, but maybe it was DCA to DFW. So Washington to Dallas, and maybe the first leg, nothing happens. They just want to say, all right, this is your first actual flight together as a crew. Let's see how you guys work together. Let's see how you assess any situation that might happen and how you kind of evaluate it, assess it, and what you do to use your outside resources. You have so many resources which are phenomenal. You have your dispatch, you have air traffic control, you have each other, you have your flight attendants, so many great options for external resources. And the first flight, maybe nothing happens. Second flight, maybe, like I said, a hydraulic failure, and they see how you work through that situation. And you do a couple days of that, and then the next is your type ride, your LOE. So same thing, point A to point B, something will happen on both legs. They see how you handle the situation, how you work together as a crew, how's your CRM, and you're type rated. So I got type rated on the 737NG and also the MAX, but I had to do additional MAX training, as everyone does. We call it MAX differences training. So I went home that Friday after getting my type rating, and then the following Monday I came back down to Dallas just for the day for MAX differences training, which was honestly a lot of fun. As a lot of you know, the 737 MAX was grounded for a very long time because of some difficulties with the MCAS system. So that's what primarily a lot of the training was about, the MCAS system and what it's capable of, and how to assess situations with the MCAS. I'll be honest, with the 737, when I was initially awarded it, I didn't know how I was gonna like it. I kind of wanted the Airbus, but it's so much fun. I smile every time I get into this aircraft now. And it's so great talking to people like my father or the checkerman I was just flying with of 30 plus years of at the airlines, and they still have a smile on their face almost every day. You know, every day has its ups and downs, but getting to fly an aircraft like this is so much fun. And I'm so blessed and fortunate to have an opportunity to do something like this. So after MAX differences training, I had just a few days off. I actually headed out on Christmas for operating experience. So I'm with a very high time, very high experience check airman, a captain in the left seat, and they are there to just kind of monitor me and assess how I take that training and transition it to line flying. I've had such an amazing cruise, and the check airmen have been great. Nothing but positive things to say. It's been such a great time, and I'm not kidding. I've been cheesing ear to ear the entire time on both trips. Flying into Denver in real life, not in the sims. Oh, it was so cool, seeing all the beautiful terrain. Flying from big airport to big airport, just seeing the day-to-day operations of a real major airline has been phenomenal. So, like I said, I'm super fortunate for this opportunity. It's been awesome, and I'm so excited for all the videos to come flying at majors and just in general, because I know so many of you have been asking for a lot of aviation videos, and that's what we're really focusing on in 2022. I've got so many videos aligned and stacked up, ready to go. Looks like Tuesdays are the post dates. I asked you guys on Instagram what days you wanted. I was kind of blown away, but it looks like Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I'm gonna post every Tuesday from now on, and I hope you guys are ready for it, because I know I am. And if you have any video ideas, any suggestions, please let me know down in the comments down below. 2022 is our year. We're gonna focus a lot on aviation. I'm excited for each and every single one of you to be a part of it. So thank you guys genuinely so much for everything that you've done for me. And I see your messages, and I see how how I've helped some of you, and that is worth more than anything like this or any numbers. That's what I'm here for. That's what I do it for. And I want to say thank you guys so much. So if you guys are ready for this year, smash the thumbs up button, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Peace.